Have 218. We've been trying to work this out in private, as you said, for months. But Kevin McCarthy didn't even want to listen to us until his disappointing midterms.
Oh.
Fight, fight, fight. Big bag of rats.
Oh, awful.
Oh, so awful, Chris. So awful. I'm sorry. I hate to give Dana Goldberg this much sexual pleasure this early in the morning, but here is round 3. Here we go. Mm-hmm.
We all want a unified party, but this isn't chaos. It's a functioning constitutional republic. When everything is said and done,
I like the
House Republicans will be stronger and better prepared to lead than we ever have before. Really? I believe that this is what our founding fathers intended, and this is showing
Yesterday
that
you
our
voted...
votes are working. Our votes aren't just a cast.
Congresswoman, I'd ask you not to filibuster.
This is going exactly as the founding fathers are happy. They're not spinning at all. This is exactly what they hoped for. I mean, Dana, the serious part of it, it is fun to laugh at because it couldn't happen to a more deserving party and weasel, Kevin McCarthy. But we don't have a functioning government. Should there be disasters, national security nightmares, you name it, right?
Absolutely. And I was saying this before, and I know some people disagree with this. If they can't get a speaker elected, now is the perfect time for Democrats to be like, listen, we'll help you whip some people into shape, but we get a gavel in this, this committee, or we get a seat in this committee, and so that we don't have all these horribly partisan committees in the House of Representatives.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, this is what I don't understand is why is it always like they say, oh, the Democrats should compromise? First of all, as Nancy Pelosi said yesterday, we shouldn't help them out of this mess at all. Let them figure this out.
She even said that this morning. She said if this was a woman holding up the vote, or if this was a person of color, can you imagine? This is a white cis male, and he's not getting nearly enough criticism for what he's doing to this branch of government. If it was a woman or person of color, everyone would be up in arms. Step aside, step aside, step aside.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. And Nancy Pelosi never went to the floor unless she knew she had the votes. She never lost a vote. I mean, and she had just as narrow a caucus. And I would argue, as we always joke, Democrats are like herding cats. It is much harder to organize Democrats, between the, progressive caucus and the blue dogs and the this and the that. The fact that Nancy Pelosi did this as well as she did for as long as she did, it's becoming into stark contrast, isn't it, these last couple days?
100%. And I tweeted just as a joke, I was like, maybe the GOP needs some BDSM training because they're the worst whippers I've ever seen in my life. They're really bad at whipping. They're really bad at whipping.
Well, as we were saying, they're insurrectionists. So now, nobody should be surprised that they're continuing, their insurrection within their party. I have to wonder, all this new stuff coming out, Dana. U.S. Senator Ron Johnson spoke to then chairman of the Wisconsin Republican Party about having the Republican-controlled legislature rather than the voters choose Wisconsin's presidential electors in the weeks after the 2020 election, according to new documents. Again, how is that not cut and dried treason, an attempted overthrow of a free and fair election?
It's one of the reasons that this vote in April for the Supreme Court justice in that state is so important, because if they can get a liberal justice in there, they can ungerrymander that state. It is a big deal. Yeah.
Well, these texts read, Ron called me right after and now is arguing for us to have the legislature choose the electors. OMG. What is he doing? The other person replied. The other person says there's a huge amount of pressure building on them to find a way around the Electoral College. That means overthrow of the United States government, just for you.
Right.
How can he feel good about promoting that, though? Does he believe we won here? In a statement to the AP, Johnson said the release of the text amounts to a smear. Really? Releasing actual text about what you actually did is smearing him.
He's a Russian agent. We've known this, Russian Ron Johnson. It's not surprising he's trying to make this so that the voters' voice doesn't matter in his own state.
Yeah. Trump attempted to call also noted insurrectionist Josh Hawley 6 times and had a White House operator leave 3 messages on the day before the Capitol 6th riot. The string of missed calls on January 5th showed that Trump sought to speak to Missouri's then junior Republican senator as he called other key allies and lawmakers to consolidate support ahead of the certification process, which he sought to stop in light of the baseless claims of mass voter fraud. Perhaps as noteworthy as the call log itself was Hawley's apparent failure to return one of the calls. But they're all just such cowards, right? He's happy to do the insurrectionist's fist to the camera, and then you see him running like a giant, away from the crowd that he whipped up.
Oh, I have nothing to add to that other than you're absolutely right. He's a coward.